Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Lubed for February the 11th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 38, also known as Super Bowl Sunday. And the game is going to kick off in about 20 some minutes, so I'm going to try to get this episode done and out of the way fairly quickly so I can enjoy that game. I apologize for all the times I've been coming on here. I've been dealing with some glitches with my equipment here, and I'm hoping I got this right this time. Because, yeah, it's been kind of a tough afternoon as far as getting my equipment and my graphics and all that kind of set up. Having all sorts of computer issues and all that. So I'm hoping I'm coming out perfectly to you guys right now. I am going to cover the Oilers-Ducks game, the Oilers-Kings games. We are going to go into the numbers, and on the numbers, I'm going to take a tally of the last 3 games that the Oilers played since the All-Star break, which is the Vegas, the Ducks game, and the Kings game, and compare it to that 16-game winning streak and see how much of a downfall there is. And you guys are going to be a little bit kind of in awe with how far they've slipped. So I'm hoping they turn around their ways. They do have another tough matchup against the Wings coming up on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens here. We will see what happens here. I do want to get to that Super Bowl game, so I'm going to try to rifle through this as quick as possible here, as we will discuss the Oilers and Ducks and what happened on, I guess, Friday night. I don't know, like, I understand there's parity in the league and every team is pretty strong, but I would have expected a much better start with the Oilers and a much better game with the Oilers. Didn't quite come to fruition. They did win the game, but it seemed like they struggled in that game. And yeah, it wasn't as impressive as I would have liked. And definitely last night's game was definitely not impressive. So we're going to get into the Ducks game right now, as the Edmonton Oilers did defeat the Ducks 5-3. But it was a little bit more closer than I would have liked, considering it's the Anaheim Ducks. So we're going to start off with the scoring summary. And the only goal in the first period was by the Ducks, and this was Cam Fowler on the power play from Frank Vitero and Adam Henrique. And the first period would end 1-0 for the Ducks. Ducks were outplaying them in the first period, I thought, anyway. In the second, it would be the beginning of the Evander Kane show, as he would get a hat trick, and we'll get into that. But he got his first goal at 9:11 of the second period, and this would have been his 16th. Corey Perry's 6th assist of the year. Then it would be Ryan Strome retaking the lead for the Ducks, and that's again, it gets back to my point. Like, it just seemed like the Oilers were always clawing their way into this game. And this would be from Leo Carlsson and Adam Henrique. Evander Kane would get his second of the night from Leon Draisaitl and Brett Kulik at 12:51 to end the period at 2 goals apiece. Ryan Strome in the third period, ex-Oiler, will get a power play goal. And this is when I started getting a little bit concerned, from Frank Valterno and Cam Fowler, the Raider 2 Ducks. And I'm like, this isn't supposed to be happening. This is the Anaheim Ducks. But again, the league is a much different league than it was back in the 80s when, say, they would play the Hartford Whalers or the Quebec Nordiques and they would just totally trash them. There's a lot more parity, a lot more, because you're dealing with a salary cap and that, and everyone has to play on a kind of an equilibrium when it comes to their spending. It's different. It's a much different. That's why when it comes to playoff times, those 16 teams, anyone can win that Stanley Cup. So anyway, 3-2 Anaheim. Zach Hyman would get his 31st from Connor McDavid to make it 3-3. Leon Draisaitl would get a power play goal from Connor McDavid and Evan Bouchard. It would make it 4-3, and then obviously an empty netter, which was Evander Kane's hat trick goal, would make it 5-3. It was a decent game, I'm not going to deny, but considering what this team was doing prior to the All-Star break, it seemed like a bit of a struggle. The and I don't know if it's just because it's a bit of a letdown because of the fact that they lost to the Golden Knights. Could be a residual effect. I don't know. But yeah, it was something of concern. And then we go into the LA King game, which I'm gonna talk about shortly. But we're gonna get into the game breakdown here, as the Oilers did outshoot the Ducks 32-27. Again, they're giving away the puck more than the opponent, as they had 11 giveaways to 6 giveaways. Power play, 1 for 2, 50%. The penalty kill, 2 for 2. So the penalty kill what was really working for the Oilers in that winning streak has kind of slipped. So both power plays that the Ducks had, they scored on. And the Oilers were 0% on the penalty kill, which was their bread and butter throughout that 16 games. Face-off win percentage. Oilers seem to be good at this. Like, it seems like every time I do this face-off win percentage, they're above the 50% mark. So on this night, they were 52.9. Picard, he allowed 3 goals and he had 24 saves for a 889. I mean, yeah, he's a backup. But again, there was a lot of defensive breakdowns to lead to that. And that's usually the story, because we notice this team is playing better now defensively, which means the goaltending is playing better. So there's a lot of good stuff. My 3 stars for this one, obviously Kane with the hat trick, Draisaitl with how many points did he have? Not quite sure here, but I don't have his stats anyway. And then McDavid. So, yeah, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen a better effort out of the Oilers, considering they lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, considering they tried to get back on track. And I think that loss really kind of shook them a little bit. So it's kind of unfortunate that they played a good game. Like, they played good enough to get the 2 points, which is the ultimate goal, is getting the 2 points. But it just seemed like they're just missing a beat now, if you know what I mean. Then they played on Hockey Night in Canada against the LA Kings. Wasn't too impressed with this game. I mean, the work ethic was there. I'm not saying that the Oilers were not working. They were working hard, but it just seemed like every little bit that they would try to force or fight their way through, LA had an answer. And that's a credit to that team, because this team has been struggling. They fired McClellan just a little while ago, and it's unfortunate. So as far as the scoring summary goes for this particular game, it was all LA. As it started off in the second period, there was no goals in the first period, so it was a hard-fought first period. Pierre-Luc Dubois gets his 11th on the power play, followed by Trevor Lewis getting his 7th from Quinton Byfield. Quinton Byfield had a hell of a game in this one. And he would also score in the third period at 7:06 to get his 15th. And he would get the empty netter at 17:18. The Oilers were unable to tally a single goal against the Los Angeles Kings. And like I said, it's not from a lack of effort, because I thought the Oilers played a hell of a game. I do think the Oilers played a great game. It's just LA just was one step ahead of them in this whole game. And it's unfortunate. So we'll go into the game breakdown here, as the shots on goal were 26-26. So no one won that contest, as it was dead even. The giveaways, surprisingly, LA Kings gave it away more than the Oilers. The Oilers only gave it away 3 times. The LA Kings gave it away 8. It almost seems like the Oilers play better when they give it away. I don't understand that stat, but it almost seems like it because that's when they get the wins. The power play. The Oilers were 0 for 4. Couldn't tally a single thing on 4 attempts. Meanwhile, the penalty kill was 50%. They allowed 1 goal on 2 attempts. Face-off win percentage. Again, the Oilers seem to be pretty okay at this. As every game that I've done, I think for the most part, they seem to be above that 50% cutoff line. Goals against and save percentage. Well, Skinner had a bit of a tough night. This is one of those nights that we haven't seen out of him in a while. If you do remember, he had a good, nice streak going on this channel of being the star, and he's not even going to be the star on this particular episode, as he allowed 4 goals on 4 goals, had 22 saves for an 880. So definitely not what he was doing during that 16-game stretch. And my 3 stars, I'm going to give this one to the Kings. I'm going to give it to Riddick. He was playing unreal. Byfield was definitely looking good. And I hate to say it, this is a player I don't really respect, but I have to give him props. Pierre-Luc Dubois gets the 3rd star. And we move on. We move on to Detroit on Tuesday, and we'll see what happens. So now that there's been 3 games thus far, I decided to do a numbers episode here. And I am going to basically break this down to the last 3 games that were played and where they are in the league from the last 3 games. I used Quant Hockey. I compressed just the last 3 games compared to that 16-game winning stretch. There's some surprising numbers. So let's dive into that. Okay. So from December 21st, which was the beginning of the streak, I'm going to try to center myself a little bit better, to February 5th, that was the streak, or basically, because February 6th is the game that they played against Vegas. So from December 21st to the 16th, that's when the Oilers got the 16-game winning streak. Points per game, they were first in the league, averaging 2 points per game. In the last 3 versus Vegas, Anaheim, Los Angeles, they're averaging 0.67 points per game. So they've definitely slipped quite a bit on that one. Shot percentage and save percentage, also known as the PDO, which is kind of one of those elaborate kind of stats. First in the league with 106.2%. In the last 3 games, they've fallen back to 27th in the league with 96.4%. Goals against. They were first in the league with 24 goals. Only allowing 24 goals in that 16-game stretch. Amazing. In the last 3 games, they've already allowed 10 goals in 3 games, putting them at 28th in the league. The penalty kill, 21st in the league, first in the league with a 93.6%. Last 3 games versus Vegas, Anaheim, Los Angeles, they've fallen to 26th in the league with a 50% penalty kill. So you can tell the penalty kill has not been what it was. All right, let's go into the save percentage. Number 1 in the league with a 94.5 save percentage. Now, these stats are ridiculous. That's not a normal thing for these stats. But that being said, this is just a kind of an indicator of how much of a drop-off the last 3 games have been. Last 3 games, they are 24th in the league with an 89.58 save percentage. So obviously a significant drop off there. Goal differential. This is kind of spooky here. Okay, so during that stretch of the winning streak from December 21st to February 5th, they were a +9, tied with Florida for first place overall in the league. We go to the last 3 games versus Vegas, Anaheim, Los Angeles. They are now a -4, 29th in the league. So you went from first to almost dead last in goal differential. So these are some concerning stats that definitely have me, wondering what is actually going on with the Edmonton Oilers. Hopefully, this is just a hiccup in their playing ability. But it's been such an up and down season. Like, it's a wild roller coaster this year. So, yeah. And now they have to take on the Detroit Red Wings, which is a fairly strong team, on Tuesday night at the Rogers Place. And I'm going to bring up some of the stats here for that, as Detroit is 4th in the league with goals, averaging 3.49 goals per game. They are 2nd in the league with their shooting percentage at 12.1. And they are tied with 9th for the penalty kill at 81.6. So they're a team that has a lot of good things going their way. Stevie Y is building that team up to be basically the Tampa Bay team that he left. Going into this game, the Oilers have a 30-17-1 record. The Red Wings have a 27-18-6 record. So both teams are very, very good. The away record for the Wings is 12-10-1. Meanwhile, the Oilers' home record, 16-6-1. The last 10, very similar, as Detroit has a 7-2-1 record. Meanwhile, that was Detroit with 7-2-1, and the Oilers have a 8-2 record on a 1-game losing streak, of course, because they lost to the Kings. Alex Leon is supposed to start for the Wings with a record of 14-6-2 with a 254 goals against average and a 921 save percentage with 2 shutouts. I expect Stuart Skinner to be behind the pipes on this one with a 23-11-1 record, 2.45 goals against, 909 save percentage, 2 shutouts. The last time they met, Edmonton defeated them on January 11th by a count of 3-2. And we'll see what happens. See what happens in this one. All right. Sorry for that. Throat's a little... Grab some water. Okay. So, for final thoughts, get you guys to chime in a little bit here. No one left comments tonight, so let's just enjoy Super Bowl Sunday, guys. And I don't know who you're cheering for. I'm not much of a football fan. This is probably the only football game I actually watch every year. Because I'm just not really into the football. I'm more of a hockey guy, obviously you can tell. But I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think there's going to be more attention to Taylor Swift and to the commercials than the actual game itself. So we'll see what happens. As far as the Oilers go, we'll see what they can do Tuesday night against the Wings. I'm hoping they can do something and turn it around. But other than that, I think I'm out of here. Probably going to return Wednesday night for an episode to do the recap of the Wings game. Hopefully the Oilers don't get into that rut again and we're in that lull again and a massive long losing streak, because I hate to say that, kind of suck, because they've been playing so well, and now to see them kind of drop off a little bit, and the way they've dropped off significantly in the last 3 games. Now, granted, that is a portion size, but it's still a little alarming. Anyway, guys, those of you who have recently joined, I hope you are finding my content interesting, and I hope you are passing the message on to try to build me up a little bit. As for the rest of you guys who have been with me through thick and thin, a big props to you guys. Continue to keep going with this channel as long as I have an interest in it. I love doing it. And that's about it. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. And we will catch you on Wednesday with another episode of Lubed. You guys have a great night.